Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'll be reviewing The Old Guard from Netflix. So The Old Guard from Netflix is a story about a group of immortals that are basically, they're kind of mercenaries and people that are kind of dictating the waves of society, the waves of history, trying to right the wrongs and kind of be on the right side of history all the time. And I have to say, I had no idea what this movie was going into it. I was expecting a kind of disposable, throwaway Netflix action film, like something like Extraction or things like that. And I realized that it had a lot more to say than I was expecting. As far as the acting goes, I think that everyone involved did a pretty solid job, especially Charlize Theron. I was not expecting this from this movie. She has a lot of depth because she's dealing with this constant issue of being immortal. She's struggling with it of the people from her past, the actions of the future, the fact that the world isn't kind of moving in the direction that they are constantly striving for it to be. And there's a lot of really great scenes of her just struggling with that issue. And then the relationships between her and the rest of her team, they're really well thought out and really well fleshed out, and they feel like people that have been together for centuries. And I think they were able to pull that off in a way that really makes the movie that much more special. As far as the action goes, I think there's some really good set pieces happening in this movie. While it may not be the most action-packed thing, it's not exactly, a John Wick clone or Atomic Blonde, it does have some really good individual scenes where there's some good fights, some good gunplay. Charlize Theron has become one of the best action stars in my opinion. There's a scene on a plane, there's multiple scenes in like churches and these cool locales that they're able to fight in, and you feel like these are soldiers or people that have been fighting for centuries. They have mastered every kind of art, and it makes more sense as someone who's been around for hundreds of years in combat that you would be the best fighters of all time. You have the most training hours, so it makes even more sense for them to be these kind of unstoppable machines. And I thought the visuals of them having this power to regenerate, they kind of have like a Deadpool-esque power where if they get hurt, they kind of just come back or heal very quickly, like Wolverine, something like that. And the fact that this is based off a graphic novel, it's very well thought out, and it feels real, and the visuals of their skin growing back or their hands, like kind of or broken bones coming back together, it looks good. It doesn't look cheesy. They definitely put the time and effort to make that part of the film work. And that's integral because it's a highly used part of the film. You see that happen a lot. I would say the weakest aspect of the movie overall for me is the villain. I don't have a real problem with the motivation because it is kind of this big pharma that's chasing them down, trying to use them as an experiment. You obviously see that in every single movie that deals with this. They want to find out why these people are immortal. They want to find out how it's working. And you get this like historical background. I like that. I like that they're diving into the history and putting the pieces together. I like those scenes. But the main bad guy who's the head of the company, he's kind of a goofy villain. He's like a ridiculous, over-the-top villain. And I didn't love that. There are some other characters around him in this corporation that work a lot better, in my opinion. But for me, he was the weakest part of the film. What happens with him and happens at the end was pretty satisfying because he is a horrible person. They do definitely set him up to not be a conflicted character. He is just a bad guy. Like I said, the thing that really pushes this movie over the top for me and makes it really good is just the moral dilemmas of everything happening. You think about all the issues that would come along with being immortal and being unstoppable, is what you would do with life, what your life would become, or what the meaning of your life would be. And I think they excel into jumping into those issues, whether it be the moral issues of should you help the world, or how could you help the world, or would you want to be immortal, and the struggles of all these things. And they dive into that even more by having a character who's just become immortal, and her struggles of maybe wanting to see her family and have that little bit of normal life that you didn't have or you could never have going forward. So overall, I really enjoyed it a lot better than I expected it to be, a lot different than I expected it to be. And Netflix has probably put out one of their best films to date. I think it's probably, for me, the best film that they have put out this year. And I'm really excited to see what they do moving forward because I feel like we're going to get a sequel. They definitely kind of set up a sequel in this film. I don't want to spoil too much. But I do like that we might get more stories going along with this. And I might even have to check out the graphic novel because it definitely surprised me in its quality. So if I were to rate this movie, I would give it an 8 out of 10. That good. I really think that it was something that surprised me. I think that it had a lot of really good depth. Maybe it turns off a little bit of people because they think it's going to be like a John Wick clone or something like that. It's going to be just nonstop action all the time. But it definitely knows when to pull its punches. It knows when to dive into the more dialogue-heavy aspects of the movie and the struggles of these characters instead of just being an unstoppable mercenary hell-bent on stopping some organization. So let me know if you checked out The Old Guard from Netflix. Leave those comments down below. Let me know what you thought about it. I feel like it's something that people might actually be turned off a little bit by. I don't know, because it's something that works on a different level than what I expected to be from personally. So I'd like to see those thoughts down below. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.